Kia ora and welcome to this episode of the Amateur Austenite. I'm Frances Duncan, an author and the founder of the Jane Austen Society of Aotearoa, New Zealand. My co-host is Emma.
Hello.
And today we're discussing Chapter 19 of Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. In Chapter 19, Isabella continues to flirt with Captain Tilney, and Catherine tries to fix things. Catherine won't allow herself to suspect Isabella, but she's still watching her closely. She's trying so hard, doing huge mental gymnastics to not see bad in Isabella. It was the same when the letter came.
Yeah, because otherwise, why would she be watching her so closely?
In public, Isabella admits Captain Tilney's attentions as readily as they are offered and allows him almost an equal share in her notice and smiles as her fiancé. But Isabella could not be aware of the pain she was inflicting. It was willful thoughtlessness.
So obviously the reader knows that Isabella is flirting madly. Jane Austen tells us that she's not allowing herself to suspect her friend. So actually she does. She's feeling very uncomfortable. And she thinks the solution is for Captain Tilney to leave Bath. And she applies to Henry to intervene and make sure that Captain Tilney knows that Isabella's engaged and suggests to Captain Tilney that he should leave. But Henry tells her that he told his brother himself that Isabella was engaged. He does know, but that it's not for Henry to be telling Frederick to leave. Frederick knows what he's about.
This is actually a kind of a surprising conversation for Catherine because she doesn't tend to argue with people, but she keeps pressing her point here. No, he does not know what he is about. But I like that Mr. Tilney validates her feelings. I will not say do not be uneasy because I know that you are so. But be as little uneasy as you can.
I have gone so far as to underline that very phrase. Underlining a phrase in a book is a big deal for me. But that's exactly what you want to hear. You don't want to hear, don't worry about it. You want someone to acknowledge your worry and then try to help you be as comfortable as you can. But for someone to pat you on the head and tell you that's not worth worrying about is not helpful. We like Henry Tilney.
We do. I don't think I liked him on previous reads, but on this read I can see he's not actually making fun of Catherine all the time. He's allowing her in on the jokes. He's not mocking her, and I think previously I read it as him mocking her. Not necessarily in this scene, in other scenes.
He does mock other people. He mocks Mrs. Allen, but he is expecting Catherine to join in with him.
She's so easy to mock, though.
Well, we mock Mrs. Allen, so we can't judge Henry Tilney for doing the same. And Jane Austen clearly wants us to. That's why she's there.
He's very careful in the conversation. I can have no opinion on that subject. You're a very close questioner. I can only guess at my brother's heart, as you term it. Is he actually saying my brother's intentions or my brother's genitals?
I go for the latter. I think that Captain Tilney's interest in Isabella is purely, let's call it lust.
Well, we do know she's hot, but also they're working really fast because it's only been a week. He has had about a week's acquaintance and he has known her engagement almost as long as he has known her.
I don't know what Captain Tilney thinks can come of this because she's really not low enough to be having an affair with. Although he does say about engaged women, that they're safer.
Does he? Or are you thinking of Henry Crawford in Mansfield Park?
I may be getting ahead of myself, but they have a conversation in the pump room, he and Isabella. She's sitting in between the two windows in her favourite place because it's so retired.
But I can see
everyone
both the
coming
doors.
and going. Yeah. Is that in chapter 18? Yeah. Captain Tilney comes in. Oh, I was talking about independence. I wish your heart were independent.
It doesn't sound like it's easier to flirt with you. That sounds like I want you. Although I imagine for Isabella, this must be fantastic. Not only are you currently engaged, a hot rich guy is flirting with you. And it seems very much like he wants you to break your engagement for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I see what's in it for her. I just don't see what's in it for him. I guess he's on leave. It's a bit of entertainment.
Catherine is thinking the best of him, though. He should leave for his own sake. Part of that was because his name was a passport to her goodwill. He's a Tilney. And she's thinking of sincere compassion of his approaching disappointment. So it's a bit weird that she's getting so upset about this when she thinks actually he's still going to be disappointed in the end. She tries to say something to Isabella, but Isabella could never understand it. I wonder if she had flat out said something to Isabella rather than hinting, what would have happened. Because I reckon Isabella just would have told her to mind her own business.
Yes, I'm sure she would.
Oh, it's just a flirt. Henry points out that is it really my brother's attentions that are causing the issue, or is it Miss Thorpe's behaviour? No man is offended by another man's admiration of the woman he loves. It is the woman only who can make it a torment. I wish this were true, but unfortunately we know that there are jealous men that will kill women, for example, if another man looks at them. Yay, true crime. But I like the concept that a man could be, yeah, this is my girl, you think she's hot. Yep.
It is true that most of the acrimony and blame is if she responds to that, though.
I mean, the difficulty of being a woman, if someone's hitting on you and you're not interested, you still have to behave a certain way to stay safe. Because if you tell him to fuck off, there's the possibility that he might be violent. That's really hard for men to understand.
But there's also a lifetime of training that you have to be nice.
It's adorable that Catherine's concerned for him. She can't see his motives, although we're not sure what his motives are either. And it's like Henry has said to her, she always assumes that people are good like her.
It's interesting she's close enough to Henry that she will have this conversation with him.
Because it is a very personal conversation to be having.
It's about the behaviour of two lovers and what is and is not okay in a relationship. Very intimate conversation, because in a way they're talking about, well, what would be acceptable to you if you were my fiancé?
Is this a mirror of their conversation about marriage when they're dancing?
Yes.
And Catherine very clearly says, I'm not interested in John Thorpe, you're the only man I want to talk to.
Doesn't do her case any harm that she cannot imagine flirting with another man when she is engaged. Henry knows what to expect when he is engaged to Catherine. He knows that she is not going to look at another man. Henry has a remarkably modern idea about trust in relationships. Real jealousy can never exist between them. Depend upon it that no disagreement between them can be of any duration. Their hearts are open to each other, as neither heart can be to you. They know exactly what is required and what can be borne, and you may be certain that one will never tease the other beyond what is known to be pleasant. That's true about other people's relationships. You can't see inside, but their hearts are open to each other and they know what the other person is able to tolerate and will not push each other beyond it. That's quite a modern idea of a relationship.
I think the issue here is it appears that James is uncomfortable.
Oh yes, that this is not what the relationship between Isabella and James actually is, but Henry's idea of what a relationship between an engaged couple should be like, that is quite a modern idea.
And maybe that's how he wants a relationship to Catherine.
Exactly. So now Catherine knows what an engagement to Henry will be like.
I love this idea of them feeling each other out in these conversations about other people. Henry Tilney must know best.
Yeah, not so modern.
Her faith in people. She blamed herself for the extent of her fears. But as we know, she was right.
She's allowed herself to be reassured by someone she trusts.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't. Well, see, Henry Tilney does know better about both of those people, but he's not in a position to talk to her completely openly about their characters.
because she wants to believe the best of both of them. She thinks that Captain Tilney is in love with Isabella as opposed to just trying to get into her. And she thinks that Isabella is in love with James.
I think Henry and Catherine are going to have great conversations when they're married and when they are each the other's closest person and they can speak fully openly and their loyalty is fully to each other. They're going to have conversations in which they can discuss the motivations of people like Isabella and indeed Frederick, when there is no question of loyalty and propriety and their loyalties to each other. They can speak fully honestly and openly. I have great hopes.
And that is a discussion of Chapter 19 of Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I'm Frances Duncan. This has been Emma. Thank you for listening and we wish you happy reading. That was awesome!